Hello everyone, this is my first video in a video series I'm going to be doing on my Sea Reefer 250 build. First, just want to kind of give a big shout out to Bulk Reef Supply. For those of you that are not aware of them or currently not using them, great website, excellent customer service, great prices, and they have a rewards program that is just unbeatable by anyone else out there that I've dealt with or seen. Pretty much you can get up to 5% back on everything that you purchase, which is awesome, especially if you're someone that's just starting a saltwater tank build. You're gonna have a lot to buy and you can get a lot of cash back to put towards other equipment that you need. A lot of the stuff I have, probably 90% in this setup, is purchased through them. I'll kind of walk you through what I got. But yeah, I kind of wanted to take this first video to really go through the initial setup of this tank, equipment that I'm using. Feel free to leave any questions or suggestions below. Suggestions would be greatly appreciated, and I'll try to answer any questions about the equipment that I'm using. So we'll start off here in the tank. Again, it's a Sea Reefer 250. Just put this rock in a couple days ago. This is Bulk Reef Supply Reef Saver Dry Live Rock. Decided to go with the dry live rock instead of live. I've done a tank before, just unfortunately issues I've dealt with live rock. I mean, you can get a lot of bad stuff in your tank. I know this is a brand new tank, so I would have more time to really kind of fix any problems that might occur. But obviously Aptasia and just other organisms that you could bring in with live rock, it could be a problem, especially if you're someone that already has an established tank. But just to kind of avoid any problems altogether, I went with the dry live rock. It's going to take longer for coralline algae growth, but I'm okay with that, just knowing that I have a lot less chance of bringing in harmful organisms and bacteria into the tank. So far, really happy with the rock, the quality, just the proportion that was delivered. I have 50 pounds for this 54-gallon display, and it, as you can see, I mean, it's perfect amount. Couldn't be happier. Sand, I kind of went with a mixed approach on the sand. As the base, I put about 20 pounds of play sand, just your basic Quikrete play sand that you can buy at any local hardware store. And then on top of that, I put 20 pounds of Carib Sea Fiji Pink Arid Live Sand. My theory is that I was hoping that the live sand would feed into the play sand, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. I'm not sure if it's going to go exactly as I planned it, but it's in the tank, so we'll see what happens at this point. Up top here, I decided to go with Kessel lighting. Currently I have one, and I have another one that I'll be putting on the left hand side here actually today. So this one I kind of got twisted to the center just to get overall lighting until I installed the second one. It's Kessel A160WE with its standard just gooseneck, and then I also went with the Apex control. I'm sorry, not Apex, the Spectral controller from Kessel. If you're someone using Kessel or thinking about using them, I highly recommend that you get the Spectral controller. I highly recommend that you have a lighting schedule, not just a light for your tank. And without the Spectral controller, it's very tedious. I mean, you got the two control knobs on the top there, but you basically have to be tuning them at multiple portions of the day. And having the Spectral controller, well, that does that for you. So it's a hands-off approach. In the tank here, I decided to go with, for the wave maker, a Jabo RW8. Pretty happy with it so far. I originally had two, and it was just too much water movement. Before I had the live rock in here, it was a sandstorm. Clouded up the tank quite a bit again, and I just felt like it was almost too much power, so I just ended up going with one. And then the nice part about it is these Jabos come with their own controller. I'm not going to go too much in depth, but you got your basic mode, speed settings, the pink and green, and then the blue button there. If you have more than one Jabo, you can actually sync them up together. So you can control which one's the master and which one's the slave, and it will basically make sure they're at the same mode. The only thing that I didn't really like about it when I had both of them installed is it doesn't sync up the speed. And obviously you have this little knob here too, which controls the flow rate. So right now I have it at the W1, the first mode, and the 5th bar for speed. You have to manually control the speed and the flow on both. It doesn't control that through the wireless connectivity. So you could have one at 5, one at 2, you know, whatever you want. It also has a night mode setting, so that first pink button, you long press it and it enters into the night mode. So at night it reduces it to the first bar of speed. And it also changes it to setting H. H is more of a consistent flow, where W1 is like a wave pulsing mode, and the speed between the pulses is what you control there by the knob. But so far pretty happy with it. No complaints. Once I get some fish and coral in here, that'll kind of be the deciding factor of whether or not I need to add another one for more water movement. Having the rock in here now, there's a lot of good water deflection, so you know, I might possibly add another one in there. I was debating between this one and the Vortex series pumps, but I decided to go with this one because they had a lot of excellent reviews, and it's like a quarter of the price of the Vortex. This was about 50-60 bucks each, versus the Vortex is like 280 bucks for their MP10 wireless series just for one. So I mean, quite the cost differential there. So that's pretty much the main display tank up there in the top. That little black box, that's just a digital thermometer. Probably not going to stay there, but you know, it's helping me figure out where my temperature's at, if it's consistent, if it's fluctuating a lot. But I'll probably end up moving it. Just unfortunately, my original plan was to put it closer to the bottom of the tank and then run the wire into the sump, but the wire is not that long. You have maybe about 4 feet of wire, so you'd have to get pretty creative on where you put it. Kind of going down here into the sump now. We'll start with the heater. So I'm currently using a Finex 300 watt heater. It's just the analog series. I didn't feel like the added money for the digital was worth it, so I just went with the analog. I will tell you this, I'm pretty happy with it so far, but it did take about 2 days to get the temperature consistent in the tank. And as well as over here on the right, that white box is your analog controller. I like keeping my temperature at about 76 degrees in the tank. And I'll tell you guys, I'm running it at 78 on the controller just to keep about a 76 degree consistent temperature. Skimmer I decided to go with is a Deltec SC1351 DC controller. You can see right there that box with the green lights, that's the pump controller. And I really like the convenience of that, because this skimmer is actually rated for a 500 liter tank, so you can control the speed of the pump inside the skimmer. And obviously, you know, I don't want to completely over skim it, so being able to reduce the pump speed I thought was a necessity. And then it also has the far right buttons, a feed button, so you can press that and it gives you 10 minutes where it turns off the skimmer if you're feeding. Right now it's just at setting number 4 of 8, so 50% for break-in. They say about 2 to 3 weeks for a brand new system for this thing to be completely broken in. You can kind of see up top here, if you take the cap off, bubble level is about 1 inch from the top of the cup, which it's been consistent like that for the last 2 days. No real foam coming out of it yet, but I mean, I only have fresh live rock and sand in there, so there's not a lot of dissolved organics that it can actually skim out. Pretty happy with it so far. These are kind of hard to find. They don't really have a huge US distribution channel yet. They did years ago. It's a German company, and through a forum that I'm a part of, I found a guy who's starting up a US distribution of these, and he hooked me up, and you know, really happy with it so far. I'll keep you guys posted as it breaks in more of how well it's doing. Very easy to use, just a single water column there with your adjuster nut. Right here at the base is where you disconnect the skimmer cup for cleaning purposes and all that. Yeah, really happy with it so far. In the back, kind of the green tubing there, is my return pump. It's a Jabo DC 4000. Red Sea recommends about 250 to 300 gallon an hour turnover in this system. And again, it's another DC controllable pump here. I have it at about 75% speed, which is higher than Red Sea's recommendation, but I like having a little bit higher turnover on my water in the tank. But yet again, another great feature to have where you can control it. And again, it does have the feed button over there, so it turns it off for about 10 minutes. So when you're feeding your system. Back over here, this is your flow valve for the reservoir tank. It holds about 2.1 gallons. I'm going through about a full tank in 2 days. So you can see it's at about half right now, and I filled it up yesterday morning. So pretty consistent. It does take a little bit of fine tuning the first couple days to find out what's the right flow. Basically, just depending on how tight or loose you have that nut, just depends on how quickly it's going to fill up your back reservoir, your pump reservoir over here, and then that's your float valve, and then right below it is where the water drips kind of down that arm into the tank. So depending on how loose or tight you have it is going to depend on how quickly it fills up that. So like I said, I have it about half right now, and the water level's been very consistent. I actually use the bottom of the Deltec sticker right there, the gray sticker. That's my water level indicator, and it's been consistently right at the bottom of that sticker. So it's been very consistent, and that's a necessity, especially for your skimmer. It needs to have a consistent water height. That's about 8 inches from the base of the sump. So no real complaints there. The auto top off tank and reservoir, all the features, and it's included from Red Sea. I didn't buy this stuff. It comes with the sump. It's a great feature. It's a cost saver too, so you don't have to automatically go out and buy like a $200-300 auto top off system and then have more wires and stuff in the tank. It's just a nice feature to have. The filter socks have been doing their job. As you can see, I mean, crystal clear water in the tank. I believe they ship with a 200 micron, it's like a meshy material. Obviously they're doing their job, like I said, crystal clear water. I'm not sure how it's going to do long term. I did buy from Bulk Resupply a couple new sets of their felt filter socks. The only thing I noticed, and actually I got one over there on the chair, they're a little bit shorter. These are about maybe 12 inches, where the Bulk Resupply ones are like 6 or 8 inches. So probably they'll clog up a little quicker, but you know, I'll keep you guys posted in future videos of, you know, if I thought it was a good investment or not. But regardless, get a couple more sets. Whether you buy the Red Sea ones or you buy some generic brand ones, you're going to need a couple sets, because you're going to eventually have to take these out, clean them, and it's great to just be able to put a new set in there right away, and not have to wait while you're cleaning them. Over here on the right too, I do have a switchable surge protector. Highly recommend this. When you're doing tank maintenance, the last thing you want to do is have to worry about, oh, I got to unplug everything or turn off the whole surge protector. You know, this allows you to basically just turn off what you want. So if you're doing maintenance on your skimmer, you know, just turn off the skimmer. You don't have to worry about turning anything else off. I will be adding another one in here soon, just with the added equipment I'll be getting. I'm going to need more spaces. As you can see, I only have one more space open on that. So yeah, that's pretty much the sump right now. I'm going to be adding an under cabinet light here in the near future, just for, you know, convenience. I also already just haven't installed it yet, carbon reactor I'm going to be putting in there, just for long term, being able to polish up the water even more. Just purchased it through Bulk Resupply, like mostly everything else, with their 0.8 ROX carbon. So I'm going to get that up and running here shortly. Like I said, I have another light that I'm going to be adding into the system for dual coverage, hook it up to the spectral controller as well. And then probably within the next month or two, I'm also going to add a dosing pump for calcium and alkalinity, just to keep levels consistent for my coralline algae growth long term. But yeah, so that's the tank right now. Like I said, I'm probably going to be creating some more videos just to keep a video log of it. Please feel free to ask any questions, leave suggestions below. I'll answer any questions that I get. I appreciate everyone watching. Thanks.